What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Before You Buy, where we break down real gameplay and everything you need to know about a new game before you spend your money. Today we are talking about Beast of Reincarnation, and it launches in just a few days on August 4th. This is a fascinating one because it is Game Freak, the Pokemon studio, making their first big budget game outside of that world, a dark Sekiro-style action RPG set in a ruined future Japan where your only companion is a dog, and straight off the bat, here is my early read. The people who played it early came away far more impressed than anyone expected, and the dog might genuinely be the best companion in years. But there are a couple of honest caveats you deserve to hear before you drop $60 on it. Let us get into it. Quick disclosure before we dive in, because that is how we do things here. Unlike a lot of big releases, this game never had a public beta, so nobody outside the studio has played the full thing yet. Everything in this video is based on the hands-on previews from outlets like IGN, Game Rant, and GameSpot, who played the opening chapters early, plus the official gameplay showings and what the director has said in interviews. That means the final build, and especially the performance, is still an open question until launch day, and as always, we are keeping everything spoiler light. So here is the deal in plain terms. Beast of Reincarnation launches August 4th on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series consoles. It is a full price release at $60, $70 for the deluxe edition, but here's the big one. It is on Xbox Game Pass on day one, so a lot of you can play the whole thing at no extra cost. Previews are also reporting a campaign in the 30 to 40 hour range, which is a serious amount of game. That is the deal. Now let us talk about what you are actually getting. The setup is simple and honestly gorgeous. It is Japan, thousands of years in the future, and civilization has been swallowed by a corruption called the Blight. Nature has reclaimed everything, so you get this lush, overgrown world that previewers kept comparing to a Studio Ghibli film, crossed with Nier Automata, beautiful and unsettling at the same time. You play as Emma, a young woman branded an outcast because of the power sealed inside her, and your one true companion is Ku, a scrappy wolf-like dog who fights, explores, and survives right alongside you, one girl, one dog, against a dying world. That is the pitch, and it works. And because the story is deliberately mysterious early on, that is genuinely all you need going in, so we are leaving it right there. So let us talk about how it actually plays, because this is where the early hands-ons got genuinely excited. At its core, this is a parry-driven action game, and previewers describe the parry and posture system as almost one-to-one with Sekiro. Every enemy has a health bar and a stun gauge. You deflect attacks, break their guard, and open them up for a big finisher. The twist is that clean parries fill a meter you spend on special abilities called Bloom Arts, so your defense directly fuels your offense. And unlike a lot of Souls-likes, it is not stamina gated, and the parry window is reportedly a bit more forgiving than Sekiro, so you do not need frame-perfect reflexes to feel like a master. Alongside the katana, you have got dodges, ranged options, and those plant powers, so fights give you room to improvise instead of forcing one answer. One writer at Game Rant said, 2 hours with the combat felt like 2 minutes. Now, the honest caveat, all of that praise comes from the opening chapters only, so how it evolves over 30 plus hours is something nobody outside Game Freak knows yet. But the thing every single previewer walked away talking about is Ku, and I want to be clear, he is not a cosmetic sidekick. In combat, Ku fights on his own, but you can also slow time and command his next move directly, and reviewers compared that system to the battle flow of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It also ties straight back into the parrying, because defending well literally builds up Ku's power, so your dog gets scarier the better you play. Game Informer even built their whole preview around that idea, that parrying helps your dog. The director said the team never wanted Ku to feel like an autonomous tool, but like a real partner, and based on the previews, they pulled it off. Out in the world, he barks to flag hidden paths and secrets too. Game Rant flat out said that through Ku alone, this game leaps away from Souls-like convention. He is the reason this one stands out. On the progression side, there is more depth here than people expected from Game Freak. Emma and Ku each have their own separate skill trees, split across melee, stealth, and long-range play, so you can shape both halves of the duo to match your style. Gear-wise, you are hunting spirit stones and stackable katana effects that trigger off your parries, so there is real build tinkering between fights. One caveat worth knowing, a couple of previewers felt the stealth side was underbaked compared to how strong the direct combat is, so if you were dreaming of a pure stealth run, temper that expectation a little bit. So what does $60 or a Game Pass download actually get you? A reportedly 30 to 40 hour action RPG built from semi-open, handcrafted zones, less linear than a typical Souls-like, packed with hidden paths side quests, and secrets. Emma grows vines on command to grapple gaps and climb, and previewers called just moving through the wilds a consistent blast. Crucially, there are difficulty options, and the director has said he does not want anyone stuck retrying a boss dozens of times. So this is a Souls-like that respects people who are not Souls-like veterans. And IGN's preview said it hooked them from minute one, with clearly a lot more going on beneath the surface, which is exactly what you want to hear about a 40-hour game. That is a lot of adventure, whichever way you pay for it. All right, the rough edges, because you deserve the honest picture before spending money. Number one is the story. Several previewers, including Game Rant, called the plot a little cliche and bland in the opening hours, and one GameSpot writer admitted they did not fully understand what was happening yet. Some of that is intentional mystery, but if you buy games for gripping stories, that is a flag. Number two, the game barely holds your hand. Polygon pointed out that key tutorial information is tucked into an optional campfire codex you have to seek out, which some players will love and others will bounce off. Number three, the long haul question, whether that gorgeous atmosphere and combat can stay fresh across 40 hours, because a 2-hour preview cannot answer that. And number four, performance. This is Unreal Engine 5. There was no public beta and nobody has tested it at scale. So day one performance is a genuine unknown on every platform. None of these are deal breakers, but all four are real. So who is this actually for? If you love parry heavy action games, this looks like an easy win. And if you bounced off Sekiro because it was too punishing, the forgiving window and difficulty options make this a genuinely friendly way into the genre. If a beautiful melancholy world and a once-in-a-generation dog companion sound like your thing, honestly, this might be your game of the year. On the flip side, if you need a crystal clear story driving you forward, or you only have patience for a polished day one performance, this one carries real question marks until launch. And of course, if you are on Game Pass, the math is simple. It costs you nothing extra to find out for yourself. So here's my honest bottom line. No score, just a straight answer. On Xbox or PC with Game Pass, this is a no-brainer. Day one download, install it, and see if it grabs you. If you are paying the full $60, here's how I would think about it. The combat and coup are the two things every single early hands-on agrees are special. So if that is what excites you, I think you will be happy at launch. But if the story concerns or that untested Unreal Engine 5 performance worry you, the smart play is to wait a few days for the launch reviews and the first patch news, and the game will still be there. Either way, Game Freak swinging this hard at something completely new deserves your attention, because the early word says they might have actually pulled it off. But that is it before you buy on Beast of Reincarnation. You know how this goes. I gave you some pros, some cons, and my honest take, and now I want to hear yours down in the comments. Are you buying at 60 or riding Game Pass on this one? Does a Pokemon studio making a brutal action RPG excite you or worry you? And be honest, is Coup already your favorite video game dog? Hitting that like button legitimately helps the channel. And if you are new here, subscribe so you do not miss the next one of these. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.